The intensity matters more than how many sets or overall volume you're doing, as this is the primary driver of hypertrophy. As for the rep ranges, anywhere between 5 to 30 reps is perfect. Again though, you need to push your sets hard, otherwise all of this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many sets and reps you do if you're not pushing yourself hard and trying to get stronger overall. That's basically all there is to it. So here's the cool thing. Your movement selection is actually going to determine your set and rep range. For movements where stability is lower, like a squat, Romanian deadlift, or dips, 1 rep away from failure is what you want to do. You shouldn't be trying to barbell squat to failure, as you're going to get injured, as shown right here. If you push to failure on squats, things like this can happen. Also, if you spot like this dude, you might as well just punch him in the spine while you're at it. Just saying. Basically, for these kind of exercises, you push until your form is about to break down and you call it there. For movements where you have a ton of stability and it's safe to spot or use the safeties, such as pull downs, chest supported rows, incline dumbbell bench, or various others, you absolutely should be training to failure. It's totally safe to do so as long as you control your reps. So as long as you follow these guidelines, the sets and reps are easy to figure out. Here's something that a lot of beginners miss when they're first training. Basically, when you're starting out and for a very, very long time afterward, you can just do 1 set and you take it close to or to failure in the 8 to 12 rep range. If you do over 12 reps, you add weight the following week and push your set again. As long as you're beating your reps and adding weight, you're set. That's literally all you need to do for a very, very long time. Here's how the setup might look over a 6-week period. So week 1, you're gonna start with something like 200 for 12. Since you did 12 reps with that weight, you can go ahead and add 5 pounds the following week and just try to go, 8 to 12 reps. Do as many reps as you can, close to or to failure depending on the exercise. And you say you get 205 for 10. Then the following week after that, you just pick 205 again, warm up to it, and you try to beat 10 reps. If you get to 12, you add weight. If you don't, try to beat whatever you did the following week. That's literally all you have to do. It's very, very simple. Sometimes you're gonna have a huge jump in reps from week to week. Other times though, you're only gonna add a rep or 2 here or there. The key thing though is to just keep hammering the same basic movements with intensity, and you add weight slowly as long as your execution is solid. That's it. If you're a beginner, intermediate lifter, you'll find that you could do this for a very, very long time, especially if you're a beginner. You don't need a ton of sets. You're literally gonna grow from doing anything because you probably haven't been doing anything. That's why you're a beginner. You haven't been training hard. You haven't been doing, a lot of workouts, structured training. You don't need to push it to failure all the time. Like, it's definitely not necessary for a beginner starting out. But if you just do 8 reps and you add weight, 8 reps, add weight, and then once you get to the point where 8 reps is hard for a certain weight you're using, you just try to beat those reps the next week, and then you can start pushing to failure. But make sure your form is there first, because the form is the most important thing. If your technique and execution is off, you're just using a bunch of momentum to do more reps and do more weight, then it doesn't work. You need to be in control of your reps. You need to be consistently trying to get stronger, and that's all you need to do. Some body parts are just not going to respond to 1 set per exercise. That's just how it is. Over time though, if you're doing 1 set to failure on 2 to 3 different exercises for a muscle group and there isn't much change in a couple of months, you might need to add a little more volume. In that case, backup sets are king for this. Basically, you just want to work up to your top set, push to failure, and then rest a couple of minutes. Then you're going to drop the weight about 10 to 20%, and you're going to do another set, but it's going to be higher reps where you're working in a different rep range. Say you're doing preacher curls. Your top set is something like 40 for 8 to 12 reps. You do that, push to failure, rest a couple minutes, then you do a backup set with something like 30 pounds, and you do it for 15 to 20 reps. With this, you have 2 different weights you can beat your reps on and continue pushing progress. If you get 12 reps or more on the top set, you add weight to the following week and push again. If you get 20 reps or more on the backup set, you do the exact same thing. Add weight, push to failure the following week. That's basically it. Pretty simple. This is super basic, but it works great. You don't have to concern yourself with doing a million sets and reps. Just work on getting stronger in certain rep ranges. That's all you need to do. Some body parts are just gonna suck no matter what you do. For those, I recommend you do a rest, pause, or drop set, which we're going over right now. Rest pause is pretty simple to figure out. You do 1 set to failure, you set the weight down, and you take 10 deep breaths, or 10 to 15 seconds. Either way it works. Just make sure whatever you're doing, you do it consistently. Then you do another set to failure, and you take another 10 breaths. Finally, you do 1 final set to failure, and that's it. These are 3 mini sets with minimal rest, and this is a great way for using as many muscle fibers as possible. The way you progress on this is a little different from other sets and rep schemes though. To simplify it, you're just gonna be working with total reps done. If you're doing a big compound exercise, around 15 reps is gonna be perfect. For smaller isolation movements, around 25 total reps is gonna work well. Here's how this might look for both examples. For this example, I'm gonna use the incline dumbbell bench. Let's say that we're using 80 pounds, and you do 8, 6, and 4 reps. That's gonna be a total of 18 reps. Since you beat your 15 reps, you can add 5 pounds the following training week and push your res pause set like usual. A lot of times while doing this in the past, I would add multiple reps to each pause set. When those moments happen for you, you're gonna feel awesome, and you're gonna feel yourself getting bigger and stronger quickly every single week, because you have a certain number of reps you need to beat, and as long as you beat those reps, you know you're getting bigger, you know you're getting stronger. It's very, very easy. Also, it shouldn't be hard to understand, but don't use rest pause sets for movements that require a ton of stability. Same thing with pushing to failure on a squat. That's not a good idea. You should stay 1 rep away from failure at all times. So for instance, you wouldn't use this method for stiff leg deadlifts or any other leg exercise that you can't properly brace on. However, things like leg extensions and leg curls allow you to brace against the pad, so you can definitely go for it on those. And finally, we have drop sets. The way drop sets work is pretty simple. You work up to a top set for as many reps as possible, drop the weight, and do it again. Then you drop the weight 1 more time and push to absolute muscle failure. Here's an example of Paul Carter doing a drop set with the dumbbell bench press. Super easy to set up with dumbbells, machines, barbells, cables, or honestly even weighted bodyweight movements where you start with, a certain amount of weight on like a pull-up and you drop it down a little bit in weight and then you go to bodyweight for the last set. You can do it for pretty much anything. Here's how this might look for something like plate raises, which is one of my favorite trap developers that you can possibly do. Basically, let's say you're doing 45 pounds as your top set. Something like 25 reps, you drop down 35, you do 15. Your second drop, you do 25 for 10. Obviously, you're not gonna hit exactly the same reps at each weight. That's why I recommend you push each set to failure and only add weight to the following week once you can hit 50 total reps or more. But you're just trying to beat your reps on each one of the drops. It's very, very easy. Like I can't make it any easier than this. As you get more experience, as you're able to actually do the movements correctly without your form breaking down as much, that's when you can start going to failure, and that's where the real gains are gonna happen. The key thing on every single one of these different sets that I'm going over is that you wanna make sure you're using excellent form, you push as hard as you can to beat your reps, and you just recover as well as you possibly can. By using a moderate to low volume, you're gonna be able to do way more than you think you can, and people that say that training to failure is gonna kill your gains, it's because they're doing too much volume on top of it. If you do a set to failure, you're not gonna wanna do more sets after that. That's just how it is. But if you keep, 3, 4, 5 reps in the tank on every single set, you can do like 20 different, sets per muscle group per week. Like most people aren't gonna be able to do that and recover from it over time, and you're doing all those sets that are basically just junk volume because they're not stimulative enough. You're doing a ton of extra volume to make up for the fact that your intensity sucks. That's basically all there is to it. But as you can see, there's a ton of different rep ranges and sets you can do other than just doing the standard 4 sets of 12 or 3 sets of 10 that people have beaten to death forever. But now I bring it over to you. What do you think of just doing 1 set to failure, back off sets, drop sets, or even rest pause sets? Have you ever done anything like them before? Regardless, let me know what you think in the comment section below right now. If you're interested in more videos on how to build muscle, check out this playlist next. Until next time.